everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm Kyle and this is Kaizen DIY Gym. In this video, I'm doing a roundup of over 30 DIY belt squats built by members of our community. Many of these builds and community members have served as an inspiration for me in my DIY builds. Hopefully, this video will serve as an inspiration to you as well. And before Chad leaves the inevitable, just do regular squats comment, keep in mind that physical fitness is a personal journey and everybody's on their own path. Belt squats are a great accessory to straight bar squats on leg day. In addition to that, it's also great for people with lower back pain or some other injury that prevent them from doing regular squats. Lastly, if you love the idea of doing belt squats, but don't have the time, tools, or materials to build something like this, check out my affiliates in the description of this video. By purchasing from them, you help to support this channel. All right, so we're gonna start off with my boy, the Kurt Locker. This is a lever arm belt squat. This is a prime example of training around an injury. You know, there you go. He wasn't able to do straight bar squats, and rather than skipping leg day until he was recovered, he went ahead and made this belt squat out of a lever arm. Brilliant. All right, this second one is super cool. It's utilizing a deadlift jack to help start from the standing position. The weights are on a Rogue Matador, which also serves as handles, which is pretty clever. This one looks like it's made from a Titan lever arm. A little bit of elevation there gives him an extra range of motion. This is a really cool design. All right, so this one is probably one of the craziest ones I've seen. This is a full outdoor setup. He's doing cable belt squats, weighted belt squats, and then this second setup is actually belt squats using a flywheel. Super cool, man. I wanna work out in that gym. All right, so this is a Smith machine belt squat. This is, I think, the only time I've ever seen this style. It is very cool. If you are somebody who has a Smith machine, this is probably one of the easier ones to get in and out of, and he's got somewhere to put his hands for stability. Not a lot of people love Smith machines, but I think that one's super cool. All right, so we have a belt squat made out of a leg extension from a bench. I like this idea because it's small and compact. He's also using like an ankle cuff to attach to the cable hanging from the ceiling, which allows him to get in and out. Nice, so this one has a movable kickstand. When the kickstand is out of the way, he's got a handle, and with his feet elevated, he's getting some really, really good depth here. This, I like going super deep on belt squats. Hell yeah, bro. Easy installation right here. You're just gonna pop it on the bar. Got some blocks there for foot elevation, and boom, there you go. So this is a super simple design, but that is sort of the benefit of it, is it's easy to set up and take down, and at least for me with belt squats, like I'm more likely to do it if it takes less time to set it up. All right, here's another lever arm design. This one has a movable kickstand. He's using it for seated squats, seated belt squats. I like this design. I like that it has a handle on it, and bonus points, he's able to use it for calf raises as well. In a later version, he actually set it up on the wall permanently with this, looks like a lever arm he attached it to, and that eliminates setup and teardown, which makes it more likely you're gonna use it. So 10 out of 10 for creativity on this one. All right, Mike made this based on, I wanna say it was sort of inspired by my belt squat platform. It's awesome, it gets the job done. The only downside with something like this is that it's gonna take up a lot of space on the floor. You can see that it has a pretty big footprint, so you're gonna have to move it in and move it out every time you wanna use it. That plus the cable setup, I think Mike ended up saying that he used it a few times, didn't really love it. He ended up scrapping it and using all those pieces for another project. So this one is one of my favorites. The only downside to this one is the footprint, in my opinion. Aside from that, it's got everything you need. He's got a bar to hold on to for stability. There is a little lever that comes forward so you can get into position and out of position comfortably. And then the bonus, the added bonus, is that he's able to do, I mean, I wouldn't say chest supported rows, but supported rows. All right, so we got elevated foot blocks. We've got basically hanging weight with the ability to add bands. In this one, there's a guide rod, so that's similar to how the Squat Max works. The only issue I see with this one is sort of limited range of motion because of how long that rod is. But overall, great design. Okay, so this is essentially like the most basic way to do belt squats. The only real downside I see with this one is the time it takes to set it all up, to put the boxes in place, to get all the weights on the weight pin, to get up into position, to sort of, you know, to get everything ready and comfortable. But I mean, if you're cranking out several sets of belt squats, it's totally worth the time to set all this up. Okay, so this is I want to say landmine style. It's hanging off of a power rack. He's got his feet elevated and looks like full range of motion. This one's good. Probably takes a couple minutes to set it up, but I do like how it's able to start from the standing position by utilizing the J-cup. And of course, somewhere to put the hands for stability. It's always a nice bonus. Good job, Peach. All right, this one actually served as an inspiration to me. He took an old lat tower, like a used lat tower, and basically just turned it into a dedicated cable belt squat. So for me, one of the biggest hindrances of doing these consistently is setup time. So if you have a situation like this where you can just walk up and start belt squatting and you don't have to put a hitch pin in a thing or whatever, like, it makes it so much more likely to do it. Ever since I set up my cable belt squat, like, I love it and I use it all the time. This is another lever arm belt squat. What's cool and notable about this one is getting in and out of position. You can see he's got, I think it looks like a 2x4 connected to a cable that runs through the lever arm. So when he's done, he just pulls it up. He's able to set the lever arm on that and get in and out comfortably. What's cool about this one is the hitch pin in the upright, so that stays there until you're ready to go, then you pull it out. Super easy to just hop in and go, and then same thing when you're done, you just pop that back in. I believe his feet are slightly elevated and there's a pulley at the bottom. This is the first one of these that I've seen. This is a great design because the PowerTech system has cables, so all you need to do is build a platform for it. He's got a chain that connects to the cable so he can start from the standing position. My question would be setup time, so you probably can't leave this set up permanently. So how long does it take to set it up and tear it down every time? All in all, it's a good design, especially if you're pressed for space. So this dude posted this in the DIY Gym Equipment Facebook group. I love this build. It is 100% DIY. He's got a nice way to start from the standing position, this little lever that comes up to start and stop it. He's got handles, he's got his feet elevated. It's a cable belt squat, which is my personal favorite. All in all, I would rate this setup 10 out of 10. Nice job, Glenn. Here's another variation of the cable belt squat. He's got a chain to hang on to for stability. He also uses that to clip in and out. Here's a super unique design. I've actually never seen this anywhere else before. It's a lever style belt squat with a f***ing rod and a wheel at the bottom. The handle moves and it's crazy. This one is crazy. All in all, A+ for creativity. So here's a banded belt squat option. Looks like a pretty quick setup, and I bet this burns the hell out of the legs. So I would say this is probably a good option for someone who's limited on space or doesn't want to go through all the setting up of the other styles. Here is another variation on the banded belt squat idea. The issue with these banded ones is there's no way to start standing. You also can't really put a ton of weight on there. I mean, you can, but it just makes it harder to get in and out of. What I like about this design is this fall away lever. So you stand up and it automatically moves out of the way. I think that's pretty smart. Then you can knock out your reps, and then when you're done, you just pull that lever back in place. Pretty cool. Here is another lever belt squat design. In this one, she's got her feet elevated. She's got a nice little kickstand there. No handle, which, you know, that's not a bad thing. No handle is good for stability if you want to work those stabilizer muscles. I prefer having a handle, but honestly, a lot of these things are just a matter of preference. It's another sort of barbell landmine design. This is probably one of the most accessible options because most people with home gyms have a barbell and a landmine. He clips in and out using, looks like a chain connected to the top of his rack. Here is Chip with a cable belt squat design utilizing the surplus strength UPS. He's also using a Rogue box squat platform, got the cable fed through the platform. So I talked to Chip about this and he said the only downside is that the cable is sort of pulling forward, which, you know, it's another preference thing. Like ideally you would want the cable pulling from directly underneath, but you gotta make do. I mean, it looks pretty effective. Here's another cable belt squat design. This platform actually was made from a pallet, which is a great way to utilize free or cheap resources. He's also using a belt squat buddy, which I made a video for. It's a great way with a cable belt squat to start and stop in the standing position. Not the best, but it's definitely helpful and pretty easy to make. Another platform with a cable. This is connected to an Inspire Fitness functional trainer, which I know this setup very well. Nicely done. Tire, chains, some 45s, boom. Belt squats on the go in the backyard. Here we go with looks like a 2x4 or a 4x4 with a hole drilled through it, and that goes through the pin and pipe safety with weights. Pretty simple. I like this one. He's got the kickstand, he's got the handles. Not using the handle though. He's gonna grab a 5-pound weight to give him a little more of a challenge. So with the weight horns on the sides, you're actually able to fit more weight. He's got 6 45s on there. Cool, so I really like this one. Not only does it have a handle and a kickstand, but when the kickstand is moved out of the way, the handle is in the optimal position. This one overall is good. Looks like his rack is moving around a little bit. Might be a good idea, not saying he doesn't, but it might be a good idea to have your rack bolted down if you're planning on doing any sort of accessory built onto it. Prime cable stack with, I love that mechanism. So the only downside to using a stack is that if you want to start from the standing position, you essentially have to lift the stack up first. So you're limited to what you're able to pick up with the stack. Now I love this getting in and out of position. I actually borrowed this design with the springs and everything for the belt squat that I just made recently. Super duper cool, very smart, very clever. Okay, that's it. I've made a couple belt squats of my own. If you want to check those out, they're on my channel. While this is an extensive list, I'm sure there are other belt squats that I missed. Feel free to let me know in the comments section below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.